Diddy, what the kids call a banger.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those memorable nights. Hopefully, it could also be memorable in a bad way because we've been in a situation like this where under the lights, everybody was excited, and I was in the building, and 63-17 happened. So it could definitely be memorable in a bad way for Carolina. Could be memorable in a bad way for Clemson because we've seen them, kind of stumble into a game like this before too. Or it could just be one of the most epic matchups we've seen definitely in the last 7-8 years in this rivalry. So we're due for a good one between these two teams.
I am intrigued. I am intrigued. I am intrigued. I like this game. I think it's got the potential to be good. Well, you know what? No sense in delaying, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get right to it. Let's start the show.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you gather around the lunch table today, this shall be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things that you were talking about on the broadcast today. We start with item number 1. A couple of weeks ago, in case you have not heard, Diddy, this may be news to you.
Okay.
The Atlanta Braves won the World Series.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did.
If you had heard that or not. It was a little under the radar around the South. I did a segment the next day where I told the story of a young Rob Brown at just the age of 10, wet behind the ears and naive to the ways of the world, sitting down at the Shalimar Diner with my old man, who told me when the Braves won the 95 World Series, hey, look around, drink this in, remember this. Remember the sights, the smell, the sound, the taste. Remember the feeling that you have right now, because championships aren't easy. No. They don't come often. And making it to a championship game is a hell of an accomplishment, even if you don't win it. And winning championship games are hard. Because it's you versus the cream of the crop. Well, unfortunately, it is a lesson that we had to be reminded of with the Greenville Triumph this weekend, who went on the road out to Union Omaha. They had a stretch in the middle of the season that went very poorly and probably was the reason that the Triumph were on the road in the USL League One final. But no losses in the last 10 games of the season. Couple of draws, mostly wins, until the League One final as they get down 3-0 against Union Omaha at Warner Park on Saturday night in the championship match. Greenville was absolutely the underdog, facing the league's top club in front of well over 5,000 fans in attendance, a solid handful of Greenville residents who packed into some conversion vans and headed on over, but it was clearly an away game for the Triumph. Omaha had a lot of chances early. They broke through in the opening minutes with a Damian Viator winner off an Evan Conway cross. 26th moment. Greenville got their best chance on goal in the first half. A whipped-in cross found Noah Pilato in dangerous position. He headed the ball, but it sailed just wide of the goal. Another chance right before the half when Jesus Ibarra had a run on the goal and was tripped up by the Omaha goalkeeper, Rashid Nuhu, in the box. I was at Habitat for that game, and for about 3 minutes after that non-call, which absolutely should have been a PK from an objective non-Triumph fan, just as a soccer dude, absolutely should have been a PK in that moment. Did not get called, and the Triumph headed into the locker room facing a 2-goal deficit. Second half, subbed on a few attackers, made some moves, had an opportunity in the 83rd minute to close the gap to half when Alex Morel caught a beautiful header, but he sent it skipping just inches wide of the net in one that I guarantee he's going to want back. In stoppage time, Greenville thought they had their first goal. Andrew Booth headed a cross from Alex Morel into the arms of Nuhu, who fell backwards into the goal by about 8.5 inches. That's a freaking goal.
It is. Should be.
But they did not call it a goal. They did. They let him pick it up and carry it back out of the box. No whistle. Not that it would have mattered, but there's a huge difference. A huge difference. With 4 minutes left to play, down 1 goal, then down 2. The Triumph were unable to organize and attack. Omaha would end up netting 1 more with just a few minutes to play. And for the second time in 3 seasons, the Greenville Triumph will walk out with the plate instead of the cup. You know what? 2 out of 3, because the third one, Diddy, the third one we got a ring.
Absolutely.
All right? Here's the deal. Winning championships is hard. I went yesterday after the Carolina kickoff show over to Bob Jones University to welcome the Triumph back as they climbed off the bus. And you know, I talked to a handful of the guys, talked to Aaron Walker, talked to John Harks, talked to Chris Lewis, and it was inescapable that there was an air of disappointment, right? Of course there was. You had a chance to win a title and you came up just a touch short. But I was not in a spot yesterday where I was going to say this as they're kind of packing up their things, because there's a finality to that, right? There's no rebound from that. The game's over. The season's over. Some of these guys aren't going to be back next year. Some of these guys are going to be fighting for a roster spot. This is where the season gets ugly. But I would tell them the same thing that I said on the air the other day. When it comes down to it, getting to a championship is something you won't forget. Yeah, it sucks. It hurts to lose, but winning championships is hard. And this organization has gone to 3 consecutive league finals in the first 3 years of their existence. Expansion teams aren't known for making it to championships very often, and the Triumph have gone to 3 in a row. I am damn proud of that soccer team. I am damn proud of that organization, from Joe, the owner, from Doug, the CBO, Chris, the president, John Harks, the head coach, to every damn player on that roster. They have worked their tails off to bring soccer success to Greenville. And while I know they wanted to come home with a cup instead of a plate, at the end of the day, Diddy, what they have accomplished in just 3 short years is damn impressive, and they ought to be proud of playing under that Greenville Triumph banner.
Oh, absolutely. And you see the growth of the passion in the city because of it. You know, the success is felt beyond just what they've been able to do on the pitch. This is a soccer hungry town now. And I've seen this happen before. I was in Orlando when Orlando City Soccer became a USL Pro club. They won a championship in their first year. They went deep in the playoffs and lost their second year. They won another championship. And their third year, a few years later, they were MLS. That's obviously going to be a lot harder to do here, obviously, because Charlotte already got that MLS team. But seeing the soccer passion and seeing this club take these steps to make sure they give these fans who are giving them everything they have, they give everything they have back and win these matches for them, bring them to championships. That's awesome. That's an amazing thing to be a part of as a supporter in a soccer world. And if you aren't a supporter in a soccer world, you should try to be one. If you like sports, it doesn't get much better than that, going to these matches.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I've been trying to tell y'all all year, for those of you that missed your shot, don't you worry, because we're going to put another run together next year. Watch and see. Coming up on Wednesday, we will have probably John Harks join us for a season wrap-up here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. I'll let you know when we get that scheduled officially. Wanted to give them a little time to breathe. While we're keeping up at it, by the way, the Lady Gamecocks started this game up 6-0. UConn now on a 15-2 run and hold a 15-2. Okay, let's make it 18-2 run as a 3 splashes through. Now have a 10-point lead over Dawn Staley's gals in the battle for Atlantis. We'll talk about that. We'll keep you up to date with that game as it progresses. Let's get to item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Our AP poll is out for college football. Now, at the end of the day, the AP poll doesn't really matter, doesn't really mean anything, but we use it every week to see if we can get a gauge, get a prognostication on what the playoff rankings are going to come out when it comes out on Tuesday. Number 1 in the AP poll, no shock there. The Georgia Bulldogs hang on to their spot with the 11-0 record. Just 1 left to go. They're up against Georgia Tech, who got drummed by Notre Dame 55-0 this weekend. So I suspect Georgia's probably going to wrap up this season undefeated. Number 2, Diddy, the Buckeyes of Ohio State have jumped over Alabama with their 10-1 record after they absolutely came out and thrashed Sparty this week. 49 points. What was it? 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 incompletions in the first half. More touchdowns than incompletions. I hate to say it. I hate to do it because I know Ohio State is kind of a bad word in the South.
It really is.
This Buckeye team's good,
They are. They're scary.
They're good.
And they did to Michigan State, a ranked at the time top 10 team, what Georgia was doing to Charleston Southern with a 49-0 halftime lead. It's the same score in Columbus with Michigan State in-house, not Charleston Southern. And, I mean, if you really want to look at it when we're supposed to judge these things on what we've seen them do, these teams, they look like the best team in the country, even though nobody's really challenged Georgia yet. They really also haven't beaten anybody massive yet. And that win on Saturday was a statement game for Ohio State.
Yeah. Now listen, I want to hit the brakes just a little bit. A lot of people have been saying the last few weeks, and I think they were right, that maybe Sparty's not quite as good as we thought they were the beginning, right? I mean, they got the win over Michigan. Now I'm really interested to see what this Ohio State-Michigan matchup looks like because based on what we saw, Ohio State ought to beat Michigan like handily. Yeah. And if that turns out to be the case, when we were arguing a couple weeks ago about should Michigan State have a chance to jump a pot, doesn't look like it. And I'll tell you, I think the playoff committee got lucky in the way they set this up because Michigan State's not as good as we thought, but they don't get to claim they knew that. That's like a guy winning the Powerball and going, I knew the numbers, bro. No, bro, you fell backwards into a winning ticket, okay? Let's just call it what it is. All right, let's do this, Diddy. We're going to save item number 3 because on Mondays, item number 3 is always our Palmetto State football wrap-up. When we come back, we will look at South Carolina's win over Auburn, Clemson win over Wake Forest, and a very disappointing loss for the Carolina Panthers. How do you have Cam go 21-27 for a pair of touches and lose that game? Because the side of the football that was supposed to be the heart and soul was more like the heart and whole. It's Monday. Shut up. I'm trying my hardest. Diddy's on the 1s and 2s. My name is Rob Brown. We're back after this on ESPN Upstate.
You have Upstate lights. I forgot.
Okay. When is the man the Falcons are bad segment? Hashtag go dogs. Brandon.
Love it.
The Saints have lost 3 straight too. So the Bucks. No, the Bucks have won 3. Lost 3, right?
2.
Or 2.
2.
2 straight.
Brady's got a bad track record against the Giants, man. This chair stays up now, and I don't randomly sink again. down to the Diesel level of sitting on the floor. I don't know how he does it. "45 seconds."
So, here, as a South Carolina fan, you may have an answer and you may not. What's the significance of Cocky coming out of the black box on the field?
It's just to get us fired up.
Is it just a reveal, just a
Yeah.
hype moment? Okay. I didn't know if there was a reason he did.
I mean, I've never heard any story of why.
Okay.
It's just always been that way. It's like as everything grows with the 2001 playing,
Yeah.
then you hear the crow, and it's game on.
That's my Gamecock impression. I just did my Gamecock impression. It was very bad. My buddy Brandon from back in Florida says, when is the Man the Falcons are bad segment? Hashtag go dogs.
I feel like
Brandon,
we're tired
you
of
know
doing
this.
it, right?
On my show, every segment is a the Falcons are bad segment. Oh, man, the Falcons guy. You got to blow it up now, right? Like I held hope
Fair.
that you'd put together a roster to give Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, not Ryan, one more run at it. But you got to blow it up now.
Yeah, it's over.
You got to blow it up. You had a good roster put together for a while, and that's back-to-back ass whoopings that the Falcons have taken. You got to blow it up at this point. All right. Phone lines are open, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. I was going to start with the college ball, but let's talk a little bit about the Carolina Panthers yesterday. Diddy, what do you say? Texter says, ESPN, I've been wrong plenty of times on my predictions this year, but my Cam Newton predictions were spot on, that Heineke would outplay him after Carolina let him go, and that Newton would look like an absolute moronic clown in the post-game press conference. 2 for 2.
Oh, my
End
goodness.
quote. Diddy, your take first. I'll let you open the mic.
I'm sure this is the guy that said he thought we were better last week when we were excited about this game as well. So the Cam hate is the Cam hate. People who hate him are never going to change their mind.
Sure.
And they're going to think that it's all his fault, even if it's not. That secondary is not led by Cameron Newton. That's not. You traded for a Stephen Gilmore to solidify an already solid defense, and that defense did not show up and let Tyler Heineke, a guy that was kicked to the curb by this Panthers team, look like Tom Brady yesterday. That's the defense's fault, not Cam. Cam did everything he was supposed to do. Did you see stupid throws into coverage getting intercepted? No. Did you see him diving headfirst into triple tackles?
That
No.
little seam pass to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. And they played very well against a stingy Washington football team defense, and it was just not their fault. You cannot put that on Cam Newton. That's ridiculous to me.
Correct. Listen,
But he's
20
immature, and I don't like him.
21 of 27, $189, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked one time. Granted, it came at a critical moment.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If that same play happens in the second quarter, Cam doesn't get sacked. He got sacked in that spot because he had to make a play down the field. The clock's running out.
Mhm.
You got to go make a play there. And he tried to make a play. I honestly, I don't put that on him.
No.
In fact, Diddy walked in today and we were talking, we're doing the show prep and running over the show. And we're talking about, putting together the Palmetto State football roundup, and we got to the Carolina game, and both of us were like, that's on the defense, dude.
Yeah.
It's on the defense. Yeah, I would have, look, I called that score 28-24. I'd have liked to have seen 7 more up on the board for the Panthers. I think they had a couple of opportunities here and there. But as Diddy pointed out, that Washington defense is not bad.
Mhm.
Even without Chase Young, it's a Ron Rivera defense.
Yeah.
They're a lunch pail defense. They're coming to punch you in the face, and you better answer the bell. I don't put that. I really don't put that on the offense. I mean, I would have liked to have seen there were 21 rushing attempts, 10 of them by Cam Newton. What did I say last week? In fact, you weren't here, Diddy, but we had our buddy Rashad Beard on last week.
Mhm.
And Rashad works for the Panther Nation podcast. We were talking football with him, and he and I shared the same biggest concern. The biggest concern that we shared was that because Cam Newton was back under pocket, Matt Rule was going to lose sense of the identity of this team. This team is still a running team with Cam Newton. Understand, they're still a rushing team. And I said, I expect like 18 to 20 throws and like 30 to 35 rushing plays, assuming an average number of plays in a game.
Yeah.
You got, outside of Cam, you got 11 rushing attempts. 10 for Cam. Probably 5 or 6 of those were busted pass plays that he just took off. All right. So I'm not going to put those in the number. Let's say Cam rushed 5 legitimate rushing efforts. Okay. I watched most of the game, but I was also at the Rabbits game. So I've kind of been working on highlights here. You ran the ball 16 times.
Yep.
16 times. You're
Not
a running
enough.
team, Matt Rule. And this is
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Chuba Hubbard's been fine. Amir Abdullah's been fine.
Yeah.
And I may have missed something, Diddy. You may have caught it. Was Hubbard on the injury report?
I didn't see it, but I didn't see him in the game. So I don't know. I had no idea what was going on. I was questioning that the whole game because I was here doing the show with you and just went across the street where you were Saturday for the Triumph match. And I watched the game over there with them, and we were just like, where is he? First off, why aren't they running the ball more, obviously? And where's Chuba? And Abdullah wasn't playing much.
He played 1 snap.
Why?
That's a lovely question, Diddy.
Like, what is going on? In the next Cam and the defense playing zone all game was a huge mistake. They just like completely brain farted this football game from a coaching standpoint.
100%. Rashad and I both said that our number one biggest concern about Cam coming back wasn't that Cam wasn't going to be it or Cam couldn't do it. It had nothing to do with Cam. The biggest concern that we had was that he was going to get Cam back and Matt Rule was going to lose his mind and go, oh, we are a passing team. You were not a passing team, dude.
No.
You got Christian McCaffrey, by the way, who did make a little history this weekend, fastest NFL player to reach 3,000 yards passing and receiving.
That's insane.
That touchdown pass put him over 3,000 yards receiving. He did it 7 games faster than Alvin Kamara did.
Dang.
That's a good run.
That's pretty nice.
That's a good run.
Yeah.
So you got this cat who's an outstanding running back and also a great threat to catch the football. You got Chuba Hubbard, who I thought filled in well.
Yeah.
While CMC was banged up. He had 1 offensive snap, 0 carries. Amir Abdullah, who has become a presence the last few weeks, had multiple offensive snaps, 1 carry, 10 carries for McCaffrey, 10 for Newton, 5 of which were, I'm guessing around 5 of which were busted passing plays that Cam took off. This team ran the ball. I'm going to be generous and say 15 design runs in this game.
Yeah.
From a run-first team. This, y'all, I'm sorry, because I've propped the dude up. This is a freaking dereliction of duty from Matt Rule.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Him and Joe Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for this to happen. You had the tape from a year ago with Cam Newton and the times he was good with New England. It was still a rushing first attack.
Yeah.
They didn't push his arm to a limit he wasn't ready for. But then all of a sudden, they played this game on Sunday, yesterday, as if they were behind 3 touchdowns the whole game. You didn't have to throw the ball to catch up. You had this game. You were in it the whole way. You were playing with them, and the rushing helped. And that big run from Cam getting a touchdown was huge. I don't understand the mindset of Joe Brady's calling this game offensively. And then again, like you said with Matt Rule, like playing zone when they're dicing you, switch it up. You've got talent at every position defensively. It is the most baffling game I've watched in a long time.
I don't get it. I don't get why all of the sudden Matt Rule decided, hey, you know what? We're a passing team now.
Yeah.
We're the Patriots. Like, no, you're not. Run the damn ball.
Yeah.
Right? Like here's the thing. The frustration kicks in for me, Diddy. The frustration kicks in for me because the Panthers found it.
Yeah.
They found it last week. They found it the week before. This team started to hit their stride, and the stride was run the ball 35 times, sucker the defense up, Then every now and then beat them over the top. And I know you're trying to keep Robbie Anderson happy. I know you're trying to keep DJ Moore happy. Their numbers came up a little bit. DJ Moore 5 for 50 and a touch. Robbie 5 for 30. I know you're trying to keep the guys catching the ball happy. Want to know what the best way to keep your players happy is?
Dubs.
Win the damn game. Win the damn game.
Dubs make you happy.
Zero excuses to lose this game. None. And so on the Carolina Kickoff Show, Denny and I host the Carolina Kickoff Show every Sunday, live from Wings, etc. What do we both say? This game was an identity game for the Carolina Panthers. This game was a game that would set, and I got to tell you, I think it went either way, right? Mm-hmm. Like Matt Rule is looking at this team now and going, and Joe Brady, he's got to take some heat on this too. They went, yeah. We know running the ball worked when we didn't have a quarterback. So why do that again? The hell, guys?
You could just, sprinkle in some good quarterback play with what was working.
Yeah. What are you doing? This keep the same game and just realize that this opens up the field for you.
Yeah.
To do the things that you do to break away from the run. And you just decided, nah. Let's go wing it 29 times and run it 15. Good gosh.
The worst part about it is they got us excited. Should have heard us yesterday on that show. We were pumped, ready for a great game. I was a little over pumped. I called 35-17. And then I saw it was 24-21. Panthers had the ball. It was like three and a half minutes left. And I was like, there it is. Rob's going to get his 28-24. He nailed it.
Yeah.
And just the play calling was ridiculous. And then they run that route with McCaffrey where he's literally at the line, which is the easiest way to not make the line to gain because you got to throw the ball beyond that line. You have to get past that line. And then they missed that fourth down conversion. And really that was it. Even though they got the ball back with a little bit of time left, they were not going to score with a minute and a half left against that defense. They weren't able to move the ball that fast with just passing the football. So it is just a baffling game. And the worst part is that they tricked us into believing again. So you got to try to hold out belief that they maybe still could get one of these wild card spots, but not if they play like they played yesterday.
I really don't get it.
No.
I really don't understand it. I don't understand how you went away from what worked, what was working, what got you back into the uptick last week. And I get you wanted to give Cam a chance to sign. Here's the thing. By throwing the ball, and especially considering the fact that Washington wouldn't get off the field.
No.
They wouldn't get off the field. They're stretching out plays. So you're going out there, you're letting Washington develop this rhythm and this routine. Heineke, 16 of 22, 206, 3 touchdowns. Antonio Gibson, 19 carries. J.D. McKissick, 7. Tyler Heineke, 6. Jarrett Patterson, 7. DeAndre Carter, 1. The Washington football team ran the ball, did he?
Yeah.
40 times and threw it 22.
It's amazing that running the ball can control the clock.
Shocking. I know. All right. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk Clemson and Carolina to wrap up the first hour. My name is Rob Brown. Diddy on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
By far, the most frustrating game that wasn't my favorite team playing that I've ever watched. I was sitting over at the Habitat with Nico and Aiden, and we're just like, what is going on? Like, what? This doesn't make sense. Tried to tell you folks earlier in the week, Cam Newton is a turd. My God. We spent 20 minutes telling you why it wasn't Cam's fault, but you're going to continue to text.
It's the reality is that there are just going to be some people who don't like Cam because #reasons. Like, he wears dumb hats.
It all kind of ties back into one factor. Hey, I'm not saying anything. Like almost 2 minutes. I can add a promo.
Yeah, please do.
So in the old days, you'd throw on the long cut of Freebird for that, Keegan. I should put in another song, huh? Mind bullets. That's telekinesis, Kyle. I added a 30 and a 60 just so we have a minute. Keegan called you out for needing to take a 2.
For what? Oh.
This is my favorite team, Keegan. The first place New England Patriots.
The lady friend has texted.
Yeah, I saw. I had a feeling that was her.
I tried to tell you folks earlier in the week last week that Cam Newton was a turd. Everybody bought into the hype and see it. If you put that on Cam, you didn't watch the game, right?
He didn't.
You didn't
well,
watch the game.
that was what he texted Friday,
Yeah.
actually, when we were talking. He said, I thought you guys were better than this. Cam Newton's a turd. I was like, what? Like, what are we talking about? And Carolina can't catch up. Gino's always got his squad ready. Agreed, Keegan.
Yeah,
How about that moment, the first play too, where he like stopped for a second, was like, center yourself.
Yeah.
This is a big moment.
Yeah.
And then he made a play. It was awesome. That was super cool to see.
I don't know, man. Just like it's one of those things where, oh, you do it differently than me, therefore I don't like you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Bummer, I guess. We got some more Panthers talk coming up later on in the show because I absolutely do want to. I got more to say. All right, I got more to say. I just think that top to bottom. I just think that top to bottom. If you're putting that on Cam, I don't know what to say to you. I really don't.
You missed the game, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to you. What else we got? Oh, so the Clemson Tigers get a win. They go in there back to Death Valley. Big one. Knock off Wake Forest. Grounded a high-flying Wake Forest offense, 48-27. It was last week, they put up 44 in a win against UConn.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the two worst teams in all of college football. Them and UMass are the two worst teams in football. And they put up 44. And I took some heat on Monday because I came in and I said, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed. Like, you should have beat that team by 60, right? And the 44 you got was an ugly 44. It took a while to get going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even mad about, okay, listen, even bad teams can occasionally get lucky on a kickoff return and pop one off. That's fine. And you shut them out the rest of the time. The defense isn't the issue, but offensively, Clemson did not look good. They looked better yesterday. They looked on their game yesterday, or Saturday, excuse me. They looked on their game. We thought this was, I think Clemson was a 2.5 point favorite when the line settled going into this one on Saturday. And they was all up in Wake Forest business.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They were all up in it. They look good. The identity, look there. The identity looked good. DJ was even hitting, the big passes that he is all season long tended to overthrow by a handful. I mean, he hit Bo Collins for a 52-yarder down the field. That was maybe the best pass he's made all year for that long 52-yard touchdown. First time this season where you looked at Clemson and went, oh, they're good.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is the
today.
Clemson we thought we were going to see.
Yeah. Took a little longer than you like to
Yeah.
get there. But they found some, and then again, on the defensive side of the ball came out a sack and I think a 3-and-out to open. Did that to them multiple times throughout the day. I mean, the thing is with Wake Forest, they want to establish their identity and they want to kind of start to roll a little bit. And they never let Wake Forest do that. If you let Wake Forest, kind of like Washington yesterday, once they get into that rhythm and they start progressing and they start doing what they want to do, it's all downhill for you.
Yeah.
It's all downhill for you. They didn't let that happen.
No, and then they did it themselves.
Yeah.
They started getting it going, and it went all downhill for Wake Forest in that football game. And I think as much as I completely agree with your assessment of that UConn game, I still think that was the most important game coming down this stretch because of the fact that as they got it going late in that game and started running away and got to that 44, they started getting that continuity, started building a little confidence. You saw DJ get more comfortable when we've seen him, in and out of having that confidence because of how this year has gone. And I think that translated directly into what we saw this Saturday, where they came in offensively ready. And I haven't seen them come into a football game offensively ready at all this year. So that was, I think, the most important thing is that they came out, got that confidence against UConn so that they could take that forward with the two bigger games other than UConn coming up, having Wake Forest at home and then going down to Columbia next week.
I think you're spot on. The UConn game was a game to find themselves, to find some confidence. We can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do this.
Some kind of identity because they haven't had one.
Don't get me wrong, it was still ugly.
Yeah.
Right?
Wasn't great.
They didn't blast UConn
No.
the way I would have thought. I mean, they left a lot of mistakes out there on the field, but they figured, okay, we can touch 40. We can get to 40. And then they came out this week and they put up 48. They put up more points.
Yeah, against Wake Forest.
On a team who's a one-loss team and was inside the top 6 a week ago or 2 weeks ago before they lost their first one. So, yeah, I think you got exactly what you wanted out of this game. They found their identity a little bit. They found themselves a little bit of a rhythm. They got comfortable with the offense. One of the things I've said all year was that my biggest problem with DJ is it's not the attitude. It's not the mentality. The biggest problem with DJ is just he does not seem to know when to tap the A button for a finesse pass versus mash it down and just laser beam it in there. He looked like he had a little touch on the ball this weekend. Really, maybe for the first time this season, he had a little touch on the football. And I don't know if that's the anomaly, right? Like, this does not mean that this is the Clemson you're going to get next week against South Carolina. No. This was at home, the friendly confines. The Memorial Stadium was packed out. DJ's got to do this, except next week there's going to be 75,000 screaming chickens at him. Yeah. And he's got to figure it out how to get it done in the heat of competition. This is not a guarantee. This is what Clemson brings to the field. But I'm going to go ahead and call this now. Knowing the lady friends listening, and I'm going to pay for this comment later. If that Clemson comes next Saturday to Willie B, they'll win the football game.
Oh, I agree.
If that Clemson shows up, they'll win the football game. The problem is we have seen that Clemson Diddy once. And I said Friday, the worst thing that can happen to Carolina is if Wake Forest comes in and boat races Clemson, right? If they beat them up so bad in their last home game and then they got to go down to Columbia, they're going to take it all out on Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks. Then I watched Saturday and was like, wait, that might be worse. They found their identity. They have confidence and they executed from start to finish. That's probably the last thing we need to see this team do coming into this football game next week. But, we did have a heck of a, show down in Columbia last Saturday night too, with that defense against Auburn. So it's going to be really fun to kind of coming into this game and to see how it plays out with how these teams have completely changed from week 1 of this season to now going into their 12th game. So I agree with the assertion. If Wake comes in and beats Clemson, Clemson's got a season of frustration to try to take out on South Carolina. But here's the thing. I might be mad and I might want to beat up the dude in the room. But if the dude's better than me, I'm just
Right.
going to get myself knocked out faster, right?
Yeah, fair.
Here's the thing. You're also right in the second half of the assertion. This was the best Clemson's played all year. It's been one game.
True.
And one game does not your identity make. You don't come out and win a game, and then that's why we don't hand out Super Bowl trophies after week one, guys.
And we wanted to after last week with the Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah, relax. Relax. It's one. Now, if Dabo gets in the film room with DJ and these guys, and they look back and they run over this game and they fix some mistakes, then yeah, if that Clemson shows up again next week, they're going to win the football game. All right? They just are. And it's not a shout at South Carolina. We're going to open the next hour of the show. Actually, we're going to go to break now and talk South Carolina when we come back, because the Gamecocks absolutely gutted out a win against an Auburn team that I also thought was going to beat them. And they gutted that win out. And that's exactly what they're going to have to do next week. Do enough. Do enough. We'll see how it plays out. My name is Rob Brown. Diddy on the ones and twos. Lonzo out on vacation. He'll rejoin us next week. The lady friend just texted, and we're no longer dating. Well, it was a hell of a run. It's a hell of a run. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. It was probably that and the fact that I just sent her a Venmo for the Clemson, South Carolina tickets. And the comment I put on the Venmo was typed out eggplant emoji, water emoji, kissy emoji. And she's like, and you're blocked.
Ashley will do that when she sends me like rent back. Well, now I send it to her because it's all set up through her account for the mortgage. But when we had the apartment, I'm like, I hope you put private. Like,
so every time I pay her for anything on Venmo, I always put like for that thing, or for that thing you wore last night, or whatever, just to make it awkward. And apparently, I crossed the line today.
Oh yeah, see, Ashley does that to me, and I'm like, God, I hope it was private, because like you see like her mom on the list of people, and you're like, oh God. Our spots are quiet today. Well, Keegan, as a Gamecock fan, I can tell you I expected that, because that's exactly how Mike Bobo's offenses worked here. Still don't know why they poached him. Like thanks, take him.
Yeah, you guys have been bad in the second half.
I just told them that. I could have told them that was the case.
Yeah.
As a Gamecock fan.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. He doubled down on that text. How did he look like a clown? Protecting the ball and playing within himself. Not doing stupid things.
Not going over the top.
What clown behavior?
I appreciate that he capitalized clown. At least he put some respect on it.
It's a designation. It's an honorable title.
We're getting a new Resident Evil film.
Isn't
This
there like
one's got big monsters in it.
Is there a new movie too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. New Resident Evil movie.
A game and a new movie.
Hashtag welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah.
I understood why they called it Raccoon City.
It looks like if the trailer I saw looked a lot like 2, the game 2, which was dope. Carolina got within 3 at the half. About a minute 15 to go.
Okay.
Minor repairs like your air conditioning can hit your wallet hard. Here's the good news. If you have a car, truck, or SUV that's $19.99 or newer, you can stop paying for repairs right now. That's right. With Protect My Car, when your car breaks down, we pay your repair bill for you. Just dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone now to get started. Protect My Car pays for repairs to your engine, transmission, air conditioning, suspension, and so much more. Dial 800-279-2827 and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone right now and get free roadside assistance. Free towing.
Keegan, what's going on with Brian Harrison? Somebody, like everybody on Twitter, is saying that he's looking for a new job, like he might leave Auburn and go to Washington.
This report is paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human
15.
Services. Parents, good news. Kids ages 5 to 11 are eligible for a COVID vaccine. Your future CEO, partners, innovators, and more. Eligible for a vaccine that can help protect their future. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Diddy's stat may elevate because the rumor is going around the internet right now, around social media right now, that Brian Harrison of Auburn might be out. He might be taking the Washington job and ditching Auburn.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the season. I'm going to go ahead and count that just to put South Carolina's Grim Reaper toll above 50%.
Yes. 5 of 8.
Yeah. 5 of 8. Eight wins in the last 2 years for the Gamecocks. And so far, 4 of the coaches are no longer with their football programs. And Brian Harsin might end up being number 6 of 8, which would be beautiful. Beautiful stat. Good win for the Gamecocks. You would talk about a gut out win, right?
Yeah.
Like, listen, came into that game. I genuinely thought Auburn had. I was not shocked that Auburn was a favorite. I thought maybe they had a couple more points than they would have, but after a loss to Mizzou on the road in front of a crowd at Mizzou, I guess. Like, I guess with more than 9, it counts as a crowd.
Whoever was free that night.
Like, you can't chalk the Mizzou up, but can't chalk the Mizzou loss up to going in front of a raucous, energy-filled crowd. It was Mizzou.
Yeah,
it's not a great look.
It was a pathetic loss.
Yeah, it was
in so many ways. Even if it was just by 3 points, it was bad.
It was a bad loss. Came out against Auburn. Auburn is a better team than Missouri, I think. And South Carolina scrapped out what they needed to scrap out to win. And that's it. Like, the whole take on the game. I mean, we'll get into the X's and O's and what went right and wrong on Saturday against Auburn. But it came down to, Diddy, Auburn did what the hell they had to do. I mean, excuse me, South Carolina did what the hell they had to do against Auburn. They gutted out a win. They had some spots where they were 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, which has been kryptonite for this team because the offensive line's not good. And they brought that same energy across the trench that they had against Florida, and they gutted it out. Now, you got to get to a point where you can win the games on the road at Mizzou.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Willie B looks like a tough place to play. You're very fortunate the Clemson game is in Columbia this weekend.
5-1 at home this year.
Yeah.
That's huge. And really what you saw from that game, in my opinion, that was the most important thing is 14-0 they were down. And they could have rolled over and died like they have in the past.
Half expected them to be honest.
They kept coming. They fought back. They got the lead, and they won the football game. And defensively stood up strong late. And I know, Bo Nix was out, but Finley diced this team a year ago for LSU, the backup quarterback for Auburn. He obliterated South Carolina 1 year ago. So for them to do that, hold him down, get the job done, massive, massive moment for this program going forward for Shane Beamer's career. Just an awesome night.
I got to tell you, the weaknesses of this Gamecocks team, which starts with the offensive line.
Yeah, still.
Quarterback play has been up and down throughout the year, whether it's Jason Brown or Zeb Nolan or Luke Doty before he got hurt, has been up and down. Even to some degree, the defense has had spots where they've showed up, and then they've had spots like they did against Mizzou. And granted, against Mizzou, when you're turning the ball over, you put a lot more ask on your defense. Of course, they're going to have some moments where they don't shine. But what we saw against Florida and what we saw them do against Auburn this weekend, mean, come on, man. Like that's the type of, and those are culture changing wins, right? Those are the wins that next year when you line it up in week 1, that's one that Shane Beamer puts on repeat on the TV and goes, look, guys, nobody thought we were going to beat Auburn. And we went out there and we dogged them. That's the mentality we're trying to build here. And it usually for most coaches, it takes 2 or 3 seasons to get that mentality instilled in a program. I'm really intrigued to see what South Carolina puts on the field Saturday night against Clemson.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting coming into it. Hopefully they do this, consistently and have this kind of a game like they had against Florida, had this Saturday against Auburn, so that this is a good football game on Saturday. We have seen them go Jekyll and Hyde from week to week all season long, though. So we don't want to see a Missouri performance on Saturday night. Hopefully it wouldn't happen. It's at Williams-Brice under the lights. You'd think they'll be popped, ready to go. That crowd's going to be ridiculous. I'm excited to see what happens out there.
We're going to find out. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. At the half, the Lady Huskies lead the Lady Gamecocks. South Carolina, number 1 in the country. UConn, number 2 in the battle for Atlantis, 36-33 in favor of the blue team. South Carolina had a good look. We're going to see if they can turn it around in the third. More of that coming up on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
Woo. I like that during the show I get to just plug the Sports Flash in.
Yeah.
Because then it's always on time.
Yep.
Like I can make sure it's going to hit exactly at top of the hour. I don't have to worry about that delay when it switches over to ESPN. And let's hear some of these songs real quick so I know what I'm playing. I like that one.
That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
My friend's making fun of me. Hi, Eric. Said your Italian is coming out with your hands while you talk. I was like, obviously you didn't watch on Friday because when I host, I'm way worse.
Yeah.
Like my whole head's moving. I'm like, trying to stay animated. Oh, I should actually stop this. Start this. So you just want me to podcast like certain segments, right? Not the whole 3 hours.
Yeah. Just make sure they're getting put in. And
All
I'll
3
do
hours?
that after the show's over.
Okay.
But if you'll put them into the podcast folder,
In your folder?
in my folder, and then if you go into the podcast folder, the top one is 2021.
Okay.
Just put it into that folder.
Gotcha.
All right, away we go. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Diddy on the ones and twos today. Be a part of the program at 844-GSP, ESPN 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line. It's 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. So we spent the first hour talking football across the Carolinas. The Carolina Panthers fall to the Washington football team in a game they frankly had no business losing because Matt Rule decided, hey, we're a passing team now. No, Matt. No, Matthew.
Bad Matt.
Bad Matthew. Absolutely not. You are a running team. I cannot. Look, I don't teach, encourage, want players to come out of locker rooms and question the head coach. So I'll do it for them. Hey, Matt, can you do me a big favor? Can you look Chuba Hubbard in the face and explain to me why he did not get a touch after what he's done for you in those, 6 weeks that Christian McCaffrey is out? After what he did and the way he carried your team when you did not have Run CMC, can you explain to me why Chuba Hubbard was on the field for one play? It did not touch the ball. Can you tell for me, while Chuba Hubbard was being the one guy, why Abdullah was going out there and carrying your backup load, and he had, what we say? One carry?
One carry.
One carry. And then you've got a guy that if he ain't the best running back in the National Football League, he ain't further down than like 1A. Christian McCaffrey had 10 carries. Now, that one I got less of a problem with, Diddy, because I absolutely am wanting Christian McCaffrey to be working with a lessened workload as a running back until we know the treads on the tires, or until you're out of the playoffs and then you don't run them, or you're in the playoffs and then you elevate them back to 17, 20 carries a game. He had 10. Abdullah had 1. Hubbard had 0. Cam had 10, but I'll go ahead for the sake of fairness, say that there were 5 of those that were busted passing plays. Can you explain to me, can you look Chuba Hubbard in the face and tell him why he had 0 carries? Can you look Abdullah in the face and tell me why he had a carry? Can you look me in the face when your team has the potential to go get a win that Diddy and I said would help shape the season if you brought that home as a W? Can you tell me why you had 11 carries between your 3 running backs? Oh, what's that, Matt? You can't? It's because you just decided, well, Cam's here. By the way, a Cam Newton who has played in 15 snaps in the past year and a half?
Yeah.
I guess a year and 2 months. 15 snaps since he got the Rona last year effectively. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, Matt? You and again, I'm really interested. We're going to have Rashad Beard, who we usually talk to on Thursday. We're going to have Rashad Beard join us on Wednesday this week to talk Panthers football. We both said during our segment last week, you can go back and listen. It's on ESPNUpstate.com. You can go back and listen to that interview with me and Rashad last week. I said to Rashad, the biggest concern that I'm going to have here is that Matt Rule is going to get Cam Newton and completely change the identity of this football team and try to say, oh, we're a passing team now, and start winging the football everywhere. And Rashad said, I am too, and if we do that, we'll lose. Well, he was right. I was right. They did that, and they lost. It's not that hard. I guess this is the frustrating part, Diddy. It's one thing when your football team gets beat because the other team's just better than you are.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It happens. It's football. It's another thing when you do everything right and the ball just doesn't bounce your way and you lose. It happens. It is wildly frustrating. Wildly frustrating when you completely take everything that won you football games out of the mix and do something totally different, and that's what they did.
It's stat nerds getting in the way, it seems. Because if you look at the defensive rankings and stats allowed, it does make sense a little bit when you look at those numbers alone and don't take into account what you do well as a football team. and see that, well, Washington gives up 270 through the air and just 98.5 per game on the ground. They're a stingy run defense. I get that you see that analytic and it seems, well, we should run the ball or we should throw the ball primarily. But that's not what has won you the football games you've won this year. Even without CMC, the games they won this year were on the back of the running attack. That game they edged out against the Atlanta Falcons was because of the rushing game, not throwing the ball, because we all know Sam Darnold couldn't do it. So why abandon that here just because you see this statistic and say, oh, well, they're really good against the run. They're top 5 against the run. They only give up 98 yards a game. We better throw the ball 100 times. That's just, there's no actual logic in that when you take into account what you are good at as a football team. Even if they're stopping the run, you keep pounding the rock to open up that passing game. And they just bailed on it, completely bailed on it from the beginning. Makes no sense to me.
I don't get it. I really don't. Run the ball.
Run it.
Run the ball. You ran the ball last week. You won the game. Run the ball. You go back to the Carolina-Arizona game. And again, you know, I as I have been doing all year long, I have told the Panthers fans, cool to be excited, but hold your horses, all right? Because there's a lot of nuance to this conversation. I am sorry to say, Rashad got on me to this. He said, oh, well, didn't Arizona win the week before that? Yeah, they did. They're not a bad team. But they started Colt McCoy, and they finished with Chris Streveler. All right? Let's not pretend you played Kyler. They didn't have Chris Edmonds. They didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. They came out last week rushing the football. The Panthers ran the ball 37 times.
Yep.
37. This week, they ran it 16. What happened last week, did he? Against Arizona?
They got a dub, Rob.
What happened this week against Washington?
They did not get a dub.
It like
in front of a packed house, too.
Yeah.
God, frustrating.
Yeah. And I got unfortunate bad news for you. Games like that are why you're not selling out the bank.
Yeah.
Right? There's 2 reasons you don't sell out the bank. Number 1, Panthers tickets are obscenely expensive for a team that does not sell out the stadium. Okay? They're like one of the few teams, it's like we don't care if there's only 25,000 in here if we're selling tickets for what we want. We would rather sell them for twice as much and have half the fans and bring the wine and cheese fans in. That's problem number 1.
Have a boring golf tournament for an NFL game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little golf claps.
And problem number 2 is that when you do sell out the bank, because here comes Cam Newton back in and the folks want to see Cam come out and get his dub, what do? You don't get Washington off the field. You leave your defense out there for 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 minute drives, and you run the balls 16 times and you lose the game. This is it. This is the reason. It's not that tough. I guess that's the frustrating part for me, Diddy, is that it's not like we got to sit here and put on our English hats and get out our pipes and play detective in order to figure out what went wrong.
Yep.
Hell, I'm yelling what went wrong. I'm at the hockey game, but I got the Panthers game on my phone. I'm watching it, and I'm yelling at it. Like, run the ball. I can tell you what's going wrong while it's going wrong.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're losing a game, Diddy, and we sit here and we go, well, you know, a lot of moving parts, probably do this a little better. The zone blocking's bad. The cornerbacks are getting jumped out of position on double. I mean, it's cool if there's like football things going wrong that you can circle and go, here's the problem, here's the problem, here's the problem. We had a texter earlier pointed out that Carolina ran a lot of zone defense, and zone defense is right now a good way to get yourself beat in the NFL.
Yep.
A lot of smart quarterbacks out there that know how to pick a zone defense apart before they even snap the ball. They know where the opening parts of the field are going to be. And it's not like you don't have the DBs to run zone coverage, but forget all that. That's a part of the pie. But the biggest slice of the pie, Diddy, is the fact that last week you ran the ball 37 times spread out amongst 5 different ball carriers. And this week you ran it 16. That ain't going to get it.
You're not controlling the clock in that situation. And those 3 and outs are a lot faster when it's 3 quick throws.
Yeah.
And then there's more time on the clock for them to run the ball, which Washington did very well all afternoon. And it's mind-boggling, and even more frustrating when you talk about what you just brought up with the Cardinals. You see that Cardinals team blow out the Niners, who turn around and blow out the Rams, and the Cardinals, after getting blown out by the Panthers, beat up and really handle Seattle, shutting down a DK Metcalf all game last night. So, like, what is going on? If you're that good, where you can embarrass the Cardinals, who still, with their injuries, same injuries this week as last week, are able to beat anybody else but the Panthers. But then you can't turn around and beat Washington football team when you're obviously the better team on the field.
Like I said, and it's not, you're going to lose games.
Yeah.
It's not just that you lost the game.
It's how.
Yeah.
Always how.
Nobody goes undefeated in a 17-game season. You're going to lose games. And you're going to lose games where you do everything right. You just can't win. It happens. It's the NFL. It's why they play the game. It's why the season's so long. So that the good teams who lose a couple of dumb games don't get brought down by those, and the bad teams that win a couple of lucky games don't get artificially boosted up. It's going to happen in the NFL. But damn, man, it's one thing to lose a game because the other team's better than you are. Does anybody want to make the argument the Washington football team is definitely better than the Panthers?
I don't think you can.
No,
especially without Chase Young.
No, of course I don't. This game was lost very simply, and this is the frustrating part, because it's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't run the ball. Washington dictated the pace of the game to you. They went on long drives. Your defense was exhausted from that. And then you just kept giving the ball right back to them on 3 and outs.
Mm-hmm.
Run the ball. Run the clock. Extend drives. Let your defense get a rest on the sideline before they got to go out and chase wide receivers all over the field again. Yep. The frustrating part isn't the loss, Diddy. It's the fact that we can sit here and so easily diagnose and take a big red marker and go, that's why.
Yep.
That's it.
It's obvious. It's blatantly obvious how this went wrong and what they need to fix. And yeah, it's a week-to-week thing with this team where they look like one team, and then a week later they look like a completely different football team, and that's got to go up the ladder. That's not the players. That's the coaching. That's something going on with this play calling, with these decision-making. I don't know if it is one of those, there's too many analytical guys in the building, too many guys with laptops in the room telling, well, the trends say we should do this week. No, do what works. And what's worked to win football games is running the football. And we all said we wanted CMC to run it less. That didn't mean we didn't want the other guys to get the ball either. Like, we wanted him to run it less and them to run it more so that the running stayed the same. And it's almost like they listened to us say to limit CMC so he doesn't get hurt. And by doing that, they just took the ball away from everybody. Chuba not getting a carry is one of the most mind-boggling things. It's so dumb.
It's offensive. It's offensive, man.
He's probably like, what's going on? Am I on the team still? Did I get cut today?
It's offensive. It really is. It's so simple.
You know they're going to come this week and like have a huge game against the Dolphins, have a huge game next week against the Falcons. We're going to get excited again thinking, oh, they can knock off the Bills. They can knock off at least one of the 2 games against the Bucs, and then they're just going to completely lay an egg again.
The part, you're right. The frustrating part of it, the frustrating aspect of it is that it's like they keep building you up, Buttercup, just to let you down. Right? It's like every time you think, all right, we hit on something here. We found something here. You got to win against Arizona on the road, ran the ball 37 times. We hit on something here. And then you come out and you're like, nah.
Yeah.
That was fun, but let's do something else instead.
And the secondary just getting diced.
Yeah.
I asked the bartender where I was. I was like, can you even name any of these wide receivers for Washington? And he just laughed. And I was like, yeah, well, they're completely embarrassing the secondary of the Carolina Panthers right now.
Yeah.
That's bad.
All right. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. We'll start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. South Carolina, Don Staley's ladies. Woo. Have taken the lead back. They have been white hot coming out of halftime. They are now up 50-46 with 4 and some change left to play here in the third quarter. UConn with a little stop, drop, pop from the elbow, now within a deuce, 50-48. But Carolina has controlled the game to start the second half. They came out down a handful. Now they're up a deuce. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going. They calmed down a little bit. There was a lot of panic earlier in the game. Say, I don't like that shot. I don't like that shot. You're just throwing stuff up. If you're going to take that shot, step back 8 inches and shoot a 3. You let UConn go coast to coast. They missed it, but it's just, come on, Don, get your girls together. Gamecocks, the Lady Gamecocks are up 50-48. Let's take a break. We're back after this. Corey Diaz of the Greenville News covers South Carolina football, will be joining us coming up in just a little while on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Whee. Just throwing up too many long balls. They got to work the clock.
Yeah.
Work it inside. They've got too much size inside to be shooting threes all the time. Looks like Cook and Henderson have been nailing them, though. They just got cold. Uh-oh. About 3 minutes left-ish.
Okay. Gonzaga's Chet Holmgren has played 4 games and has 14 blocks so far in 4 games. 14 blocks in 4 games. Most guys get 14 blocks in a season.
Oh, my goodness. And they're losing. They're banging down low, man.
Yeah, but like,
It's like that's the third one in a row like that. That one they finally got a foul. Looks like they're looking for the
I'll
fouls.
say if you're planning to get fouls, then give it inside of the big girl's long bag. Like don't do this running leaner from the free throw line. Put her on the block and give her the rock.
Goodness. Oh, you got to hit free throws. Cannot be missing free throws.
Not a game like this. Good
Nice
take.
steal.
Good take.
You got numbers 4-on-2. Don't screw this up. Oh, why'd you
Go to
kick
the
it right
rack.
there?
I love
There
it.
you
Go to the rack. Look what good things happen when you go to the glass, Diddy.
She made a good decision with the ball, but I was scared about that pass. Looked like she was trying to get her to shoot a 3. I was like, no. Bring the thunder.
Get her up. Go to the glass. Ooh, that's ticky tack.
30 seconds.
Look at that. Do the fake, split the D, go to the glass. That's
Beautiful
textbook.
move. That was awesome.
Textbook from Zaya.
She's incredible.
She's a gangster.
She is so good.
Zaya Cook is an absolute G.
Get her out in Vegas with Asia.
I'll be down for that.
That'd be sick.
Oh, you got to defend the middle, girls. Give that to them. UConn on a bit of a run now. They have got 6 unanswered, 52-52 with about 43 to play left in the third quarter, and UConn shooting a pair after missing a layup off the inbound but taking the foul. First one is up and no good, so it'll stay 52 a piece here for just a second. I got to get this story in here. You know, I've heard, we talked earlier about NFL teams losing games and losing games in dumb ways. This might be my favorite way the Detroit Lions have lost a lot lately.
Yeah.
And by lately, I mean like the last decade, right?
Or two.
Lions left guard Jonah Jackson was hit with an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at the end of their 13-10 loss to the Browns. They shoulda, coulda, woulda won that game.
Yeah.
Hit with an unsportsmanlike conduct to end the third quarter. Came 2 series after the Lions scored their only touchdown of the game and with the team driving in Cleveland territory. The team came out to start the fourth quarter. Instead of a 1st and 10 at the Browns' 42-yard line, they came out 1st and 25 for their own 43. Why? Because Jonah Jackson, the left guard, got hit with an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for taunting. What did he do? Well, Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions, said, quote, "I don't know what to tell you. It was something that was said. It was something about somebody's mother, okay? And there was a lot of talking going on, but so it was a penalty," end quote. Jackson said he did not remember exactly what he said, but the story is coming out that he made a comment to Browns defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, insulting his mama. Tacked on a 15-yarder, they would end up losing the game. Jackson said, quote, "First of all, I should have never even put my team in that situation, but it was the heat of the moment, heat of the game. We actually chopped it up after, apologized. It was both sides, but definitely should have never been in that situation to begin with," end quote. Did he? He Call of Duty'd them out of a win. He went full Xbox, PlayStation party chat against Jadeveon.
I think it's even better than that. I think he went full on 90s with the Yo Mama joke.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing back the old school trash talk.
There is not much that is better than NFL dude hit him with a "Yo Mama's so fat" and getting hit with 15 yards for it.
The funny thing, Clowney's probably like, huh? And then he saw the flag and was like, okay. He's like, cool. We got penalty yards.
So fat she uses Saturn's rings for a hula hoop. Tweet! Your mama's so fat when she sits around the house, she sits all the way around the house. 15 yards. And end of game.
More embarrassing or less embarrassing than pointing at somebody and getting a 15-yarder.
So let's go into that, shall we?
Oh, goodness.
Absolutely,
NFL, what are you doing?
Absolutely unbelievable call earlier in the NFL. This guy, it's so not that tough to figure out.
No.
All right. So in the Kansas City Dallas game to wrap up yesterday evening, the Chiefs have a run back. I believe it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets a run off the outside, sprints to the end zone, beats the Dallas Cowboy defender to the corner. Van Der Esch was tracking him down. And as Helaire goes into the end zone, he commits the most heinous, atrocious, unforgivable, despicable act of looking back at Van Der Esch, and gives me the heebie-jeebies just to talk about it, Diddy. It makes me feel dirty. I need a shower to even bring it up in the air, but I feel like I've got to give the people what they want and talk about this situation. Edwards-Helaire turns, and I'm going to do this. So if I offend anybody on the stream,
it's going to be rough.
at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, if I offend any of you on the stream by you seeing this gesture, I want to apologize in advance because I know that this is kind of out of like traditional customary norms. It's such a despicable act, but I feel like I've got to really bring the levity of the situation to the forefront here, Diddy. As Edwards-Helaire crosses across the goal line to score a Chiefs touchdown in the win over Dallas yesterday, Edwards-Helaire looks back at Van Der Esch and Diddy. Oh, hang on. He can't believe I'm going to say this on air. Diddy. He pointed at him.
Oh, my goodness. Think of the children. Kids were in that stadium, Clyde.
I mean, in public on national television, Clyde Edwards-Helaire pointed
Oh no.
at another man. Listen, I was told that after the game that the Cowboys provided grief counselors to Vander Esch and the rest of their players. I was told that AT&T will be holding a special group therapy session for all the Cowboys fans who were just absolutely devastated by the act of pointing.
I mean, no wonder they couldn't come back and win that game. I mean, it's hard to bounce back from such a thing.
Mentally devastated. The Cowboys at that point, I mean, honestly, they deserve a fruit basket for even finishing the game.
Right.
Honestly, I am stunned that they did not all immediately need to head to the locker room, perhaps find some therapy cats to pet in order to calm their nerves. Bring a couple of psychologists in there to really evaluate the long-term damage done of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who just completely and totally destroyed the psyche of the Dallas Cowboys with the most disgusting gesture of all time, pointing at a guy.
Just unforgivable.
It's flabbergasting. I mean, I'm watching that yesterday, and anytime there's like a really bad injury on TV, like the announcer will check in, and ordinarily they're like, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you a replay of that injury, but we do want you all at home to know that this is a gruesome injury. So if you are squeamish, you may want to look away."
Trigger warning.
Yeah, they didn't give me one of those on the replay for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like I needed Romo to break in and be like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, we know that this is a traumatizing moment in this football game for all of you as NFL fans. Any Dallas Cowboys in the audience, you may want to look away from your screen, as what we are about to show you is horrifying, disgusting, uncalled for, and frankly is against everything the NFL stands for. We're going to give you that replay again now. Now's a great time to look away from your TV and then show the point."
Oh my goodness. It's funny, like, where they go from like what is and what isn't taunting to them. Because like the celebrations in some state, like the sack celebrations, or they're in the mess of people and going nuts, but that's fine. But pointing at somebody, how dare you? What are you doing?
Texture says pointing at a player like that seems silly, but it is taunting, and a known taunting call. I shouldn't be surprised. No. I agree with you for the record. Absolutely. If I am a head coach, I am telling my players, unless you are in the act of tackling them, don't even look at the other guys.
Yeah.
Like, don't even look at them. Because if we're going to call that a taunt, if the NFL, and yes, it is. Of course it's a taunt, right?
But like, why is that a penalty? That's the problem.
Right.
Like,
the question isn't that I'm upset at the call.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's a taunting call. The problem is that it is, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a scientific dumb. It's dumb that that's a call.
The dumbest.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet yesterday. I don't know who actually tweeted. It might have been you, for all I know. But it was just basically, it was the truest and saddest tweet that could have come out after that. And it's that this year's Super Bowl will definitely be decided by a taunting call.
100%.
And that sucks. And you know it's going to happen.
I hope it is. I hope it is. I hope there's a team that's getting their behinds waxed the entire game, and then they win on a taunting, the ramifications of a taunting call.
Yeah.
I genuinely hope that happens, because I need the National Football League to recognize that this is, again, big word, bear with me, I'm an intellectual, stupid. It's dumb.
It's awful.
There was in the Steelers-Chiefs game. Justin Herbert takes a sack. The Chiefs defensive lineman, and I don't remember who it was off the top of my head, the Steelers defensive lineman in the Steelers-Chargers game. Herbert takes a sack. The Steelers defensive lineman rolls Herbert over onto his back, because he was like on all fours crouched over the ball, rolls him over on his back, falls on him, and brings a right hand down into the gut of Justin Herbert. And I would like to point it out on the record that action results in the same amount of penalty yards as pointing at a guy. Y'all,
Oh.
dear NFL, when we call you the No Fun League,
Yeah.
it is not from a place of admiration.
No, it's because of this.
It is not from a place where we are going, thank goodness they are sparing me from the mental trauma of players celebrating touchdowns.
Oh, don't have fun out there. It's
No.
immature, y'all.
Yeah. Just, well, you can have fun without taunting. Who? hey, if you don't want
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire to taunt you going into the end zone,
Yeah.
tackle him before he gets to the end zone.
What's funny is the people who defend this as a penalty and think it's a good idea to stop this are also the ones that in their fandom threaten to fight people for not liking their team. So, where's the real immaturity here?
Just.
Ugh.
Let's take a break. Corey Diaz from the Greenville News joins us next on the Rob Brown Show. Talk a little Gamecock football when we come back right here on ESPN Upstate.
What is? Oh, it's my cue going on.
It's what? Oh, you.
It was on cue. Yeah, it wasn't on. Because I was dumb and opened a ESPN web page, so it's been playing the whole time. Probably we can't hear it. Why do I feel like? Oh, it is. Oh, or isn't it?
What's that?
Like, is that the same guy who Cam Newton's a turd?
Probably. Oh, let me give you Corey's number.
Oh, it's not actually. That's a different phone number.
Be right back, Stream. Mike for that interview on the stream.
Oh,
My
no.
bad, everybody.
Sorry, y'all.
Turns out I'm an idiot. Also, I'm adding one more thing. Whenever we're on the air, do me a favor and check and make sure that these two microphones, make sure that yours is off.
Yeah.
And mine is on.
Heard. Heard.
All you got to do is go to idareme.com, fill out some information, and one of the healthcare coaches will bring you in for a free consultation to get you on the way to losing that weight. Don't forget, it's buy one, get one free. Go to idareme.com today. You're there. Make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
3.5 minutes, so we'll come in at 57:30.
Okay.
A minute and a half.
That's perfect.
Dawn Staley.
Dude, the GOAT, right?
Later on tonight, we'll see mostly clear skies and the low around 30 degrees. Sunny on Tuesday, high at 54. I'm meteorologist Nick Carlisle on ESPN Upstate. Right now it's 63.
They're getting that ring they deserved
I really did.
2 years ago.
Tonight at 7:30, the NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Tis the season. Season for what? For the Upstate Holiday Light Show. Where's that at Greenville Pickens Speedway? Millions of incredible lights.
Tis the season.
600-foot light dome, even a drive-through petting zoo. Do we need tickets? Sure, but fast passes are available. Plus, it gets the hubby for the holiday spirit, so we're not doing that last minute thing. Where do I score some tickets? Just
Need
go
Diesel to
to
get here so I can make some more coffee.
UpstateLights.com. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people.
Oh, goodness.
And actually invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of pay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate to a site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Oh, that's how you win a basketball game. Tighten up in the second half.
Yep. Yep. 11 turnovers, 3. That'll do it.
None of them led to points in the second half.
Right there. There's your game. There's your game right there.
If they came out and played like the second half the whole game, they'd blow them out.
Oh, yeah.
And that would have been interesting to see. 30 seconds.
Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299. All on America's best network. 5G coverage, 5G phone. Straight talk wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device acquired.
There we go.
Availability covered with speed.
Gamecocks win. Gamecocks win. South Carolina, #1 team in the country in women's college basketball. A 73-57 win over the Huskies. And a tale of two halves, Diddy. 11 turnovers and 13 points surrendered off of them in the first half. 3 turnovers and 0 points surrendered off of them in the second half.
Yeah.
If they play the second half twice instead of once. They win that game by 26.
Yeah, lopsided if they played the whole game that way. That's pretty impressive regardless, though, what they were able to do in the second half. When you watched that first half, UConn had control for a while there. And you said it earlier, it looked like South Carolina was a little frantic, a little lost, and man, did they lock it down in the second half.
Different ball club. Different ball club second half for the Gamecocks. Boston, 22 points, 15 rebounds.
Massive.
Good Lord.
She is a legend.
That is a gangsta line, dude.
The
22 and
redemption
15.
tour, by the way, for 2019-2020 season continues.
Yeah, that's should have had a ring for the ladies,
Yeah.
but I suspect they're gonna be first in line to get it this year. If remember, this is what? This is game number 6. This is the
third week of the
sixth game
season. Yeah.
For the Gamecock, a six week of the season. And they come out there and blew the Huskies out 73-57. Is closer than that till about 8 minutes left in this
Ran
game.
away late.
Yeah, 100%. About 8 minutes left. They pulled it out, but still a day, man.
That'll be your national championship game.
Yeah, 100%.
Expect that again, and they play again on the schedule, too.
I'm going to go ahead and fill half your bracket out for you now.
Yeah, UConn and
USC
South
on
Carolina.
one half, UConn on the other. Go ahead and write that one down now. All right, 1 hour left. We'll keep breaking football games down when we come back. Rob Diddy, it's ESPN Upstate. This is my favorite commercial Lonzo's ever made. Dude, I have never laughed so hard on the air as when Lonzo made a 69 joke. I had to go to break at the end of this. Like, as soon as we were done with this little spot, because I couldn't breathe.
You know what I mean.
You know what I mean.
His Brady hate just bled into everybody else that played with Brady, is what it is. And it has nothing to do with the Patriots, which is the funniest part of it. It's all because he went to Michigan.
That moment when Lonzo made Mr. I don't say bad words, I don't drink. 69. I was like, oh man.
Because McKinney used to have me when he'd bring me in here, even if it was like we usually would talk baseball, but he would make sure if there was football season, he would get us to argue about Tom Brady.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like it's been a thing. He hates it. It's awesome. Yo.
All right, the third, the final, the best of money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello. upstate South Carolina. Rob in with you today. Diddy filling in on the air chair, pushing the button, switching the switches, making the show sound as good as he does. So if you don't like the show, it's all his fault. Just blame everything on him.
It's Lonzo's fault for taking vacation.
Fair enough.
I can't take the blame.
And he's not here to defend himself.
That's
so
right.
That's the easiest attack to make. I am Rob Brown. He is Diddy. We are glad to have you along for the ride. I want to throw this out there. So one of the things that I have tried to do, and I've told you guys this since I got here, one of the things that I have attempted to do is to throw myself into the local community as far as sports go, right? Like I try to really invest both myself, but my time, my energy, my money into the sports in our area. And I think that sports absolutely enrich a community, right?
Yep.
Because with everything that's going on around the world, there is plenty for us to yell and scream and be divided about. But when you show up to a stadium with just a bunch of people from all walks of life and all have the same logo on the shirt to cheer on the team that you're there for, it enriches a community because it gets rid of all that crap for a day or an hour or 3 hours or whatever and puts us all on, pardon the pun, the same playing field.
Yep.
And there's something great about it. So when I got here, one of the first conversations I had, as a matter of fact, was with Michael Stathakis, who owns Stacks. He was one of the first folks when I moved here who was kind enough to invite me out for a beer to answer questions and whatnot. We got to talking about it. And I said, from the perspective of somebody who's been here a very long time, what can I do to show the people of the upstate from Greenville, Spartanburg, that I am here to be a part of this community. I'm not some outsider trying to come take money out. I want to be here and invest in this community, be a part of it. And he said, I think you got to dive in. I think you got to be a man amongst the people. You got to be at the sport, whatever. So that's what I've attempted to do. I have been working with the Triumph. I'm playing drums in the band. As a matter of fact, their season wrap up tomorrow takes place at 6:30 or 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm going to MC it for them, right?
Nice.
Last year, after they won the championship and got the rings, I emceed their on-the-field championship ceremony at the first game of this past season with the Swamp Rabbits. Last year, filled in, did some stuff with them. This year, I'm DJing their games. I'm assisting with the PA responsibilities. I'm helping them with game day production. I mean, I'm bought into that team. Our buddy over the guys over at the Spartanburgers, when I got the opportunity to do some stuff, went out and threw a first pitch with them and talked to our buddy Casey Milton over there and going to be doing some stuff with the Burgers starting this baseball season to keep up with them. I have gone all in. I love being part of the local sports scene. I love helping those teams to with what little contributions I can make to find success, et cetera. And even if it's just to help spread the word of these local sports around the community itself. That's what I'm here for. So one thing that I've thoroughly enjoyed is this season with the Greenville Triumph. I mean, I loved last year, but obviously last year we had a lot of games that were COVID restricted. Even later in the season, they could only let in a certain amount of people, and people had to sit in the little pod format, et cetera. This year we had a season. And we were filling up Legacy early and just having a great time. And then on Saturday night, unfortunately, the Triumph came up a couple of goals short of winning back-to-back USL League One championships. And a couple of things came to my mind. First and foremost, I think if you're a soccer fan in this area, we should be bending over backwards to show appreciation for this team, for this club, not just because of the fact that they're a damn fine soccer club. And trust me, I've been around a lot of professional level sports at that level, and there's a lot of places, a lot of teams, a lot of organizations, Diddy, that they prop it up to make some money off the team, and that's pretty much it. The Greenville Triumph, and I'll say this is true with the Swamp Rabbits and certainly the Drive. I mean, every business you start is to make money and give people jobs and whatnot. But this team genuinely cared about being part of the community. They care about giving back and using the platform that they have to give back in and invest in Greenville as well. Sunday, got done with the Carolina kickoff show in Bowling Springs, drove back and met the guys as they got off the bus at Bob Jones University and talked to Coach Harks and talked to Joe Irwin and talked to Chris Lewis, the president. And you know, they were, I mean, understandably, they were all a little bit down. You know, Harks, he said, hey, it was a great run. I wish we could have brought home a trophy instead of a plate. Chris said the same thing. But after having talked with all three of those guys, what kind of intrigued me the most about it was that, yeah, I mean, obviously they were bummed that they didn't win a trophy, but it was less about we did not win us a trophy and more they were genuinely disappointed they couldn't bring it back to Greenville. Yeah. They were genuinely disappointed that they couldn't bring the championship trophy, bring the jug, the USL League One championship cup back to the city and put it on display. In fact, last year, one of the things that I absolutely adored last year was when the Triumph were away and they threw a watch party. They brought the jug. They brought the cup to every watch party, and they set it right there on the table. And if you wanted a picture with it, you walk over and you could pick it up and take. I mean, how many times you ever been out anywhere, with the exception of, and actually this isn't even the case with like the Stanley Cup, because you know they'll bring it out and they'll put it on display for fans. But how many places you ever been where a team lets you just anybody they want just pick up the trophy and take a picture with it?
Never.
I've never
rarely.
seen it.
Yeah,
never seen it. In my high school, the state championship 1991 Choctawhatchee Indians football trophy was behind lock and key, and it never came out for anybody, right? They made it a point of emphasis to bring the car and bring the cup to every event that they threw so that fans could take pictures with it. They're giving away stuff left and right. The Triumph threw the watch party on Saturday night. They put the whole thing together. Ordinarily, that's fan organized, but they said, nope, we want to have a bar for us. We want to and they put the whole thing together. Here's what I will say to them and to everybody in Greenville is hey, look, I threw the Triumph gear on today. All right. Because they deserved it. That was a hell of a season. Yeah. Hell of a season. And it was a point in that season where a lot of organizations would have stopped, would have started building for next year. A lot of teams had a tough stretch, 2 months in the middle, a lot of injuries, a lot of outside influences that kept them from really hitting their stride. Wins weren't easy. They gutted it out and they got healthy. And then they finished the season with 10 consecutive matches without a single loss tossed in. It's impressive. Then they ran through the playoffs as underdogs. Then they got to the championship game. And yeah, they came up just a touch short. It happens. All right. And I go back to what I said the day after the Braves won the World Series. I told the story of 10-year-old me sitting in the Shalimar Diner in Shalimar, Florida with my old man when Smoltz and Maddox and Glavine won a World Series. And he said, hey, look, here's the deal, man. Drink this in. Remember how you feel right now. Look around. Remember the sights. Remember the sounds. Remember what you're wearing. Remember how you feel right now, because winning championships is hard. There's only in any given sport one team that gets to do it every year. And in every league, there's 20 or 25 or 30 or 32 or 40 that are trying. One team gets to do it. There are people who go their entire lives and never get to see their team win a championship. Right? How many Cubs fans kicked a bucket from 12 before they finally won theirs? How many Red Sox fans? Diddy, I'm sure you're related. I don't mean this to sound crass, but how many of your family Red Sox fans never got to see the Red Sox win a World Series?
A good handful. Yeah. My grandfather passed away that April.
Yeah.
And, the year they won it finally.
Yeah. Winning championships is not easy. Yeah. And I don't care if you're talking ECHL hockey or USL League One soccer or MLS football or NFL or MLB or NBA. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's tough. And a lot of people never see their team win one. This group, Joe and Doug and Chris and the guys that are in charge of the Greenville Triumph, put together a team that in the first year of the third highest level of soccer in the United States of America, this team put together, or this organization put together a team that played for USL League One Championship final in year 1, won one in year 2, and played for they are 3 for 3 in existence of going to the finals. It is not easy to make a finals. Forget win one. They've won one. They've made 2. There is yet to be a year the Triumph have not gone to a finals in their existence. This team, that organization, I hope, and I know that the sting is fresh. The sting is fresh. We feel it as fans. That bar we were at Friday night went from a hop-in party to solemn real quick. The sting stays fresh. But I hope that in a week or a month or at the kick of game 1 of next season, whatever it takes for every individual, because it's different for everybody, I hope that they can look back at what was accomplished this year and be proud of it, because they should be. And I hope the fans of the Triumph will match the energy at the end of this season to the energy at the beginning of the next one. Because those last 3 games, when Legacy Early was sold out, when that smoke was popping, when those drums were beating, by the way, really good-looking drumline guy out there, I'm just saying. When those drums were going and the fans were chanting, there was something special about that, guys. I have been to a game at the Charleston Battery. I've got a bunch of friends who went up to North Carolina FC in their first year. I've got friends who have been to Tormenta. I have been to Tampa. Most teams at this level of football don't have what Greenville has. And I know that it's been built up because the team wins. And they're going to win next year, too. They're going to be fine. There's going to be some guys that are gone that were mainstays. There's going to be some new faces on the roster. But you got a guy in John Harkes that the majority of us think that guy's going to be on an MLS sideline eventually. It's only a matter of time. Now we keep him here for a very long time. But he's got MLS sideline potential. And you've got admins in that office over there that are absolutely top flight quality. This team's going to be good for a while. I hope that Greenville matches the energy that it had for the last 4 games of the Triumph season to the first 4 games of next year and get us out the gate hot. Let's go wire to wire again. The team, in fact, I spoke with Aaron Walker very briefly as he walked away. Spoke with Noah as he walked away. Good dudes, man.
Oh, yeah.
They care. This loss gutted them, not for themselves, but because they wanted to come back and they wanted tomorrow night season wrap up. They wanted to present the USL Cup back to the Greenville Triumph fan base and the Reedy River Riot, La Familia, and all these different groups that have built up around the area. And it hurt them that they're bringing back a plate, not a cup. But I would say this to them: be proud as hell, fellas, because you guys could have given up 2 months ago, and most of us would have gone, yeah, we get it. We get it. We dropped out of the position. We were way down on the table. You guys gutted it out. 10 consecutive with no L's. That's unheard of. At top levels, that's unheard of. And you guys knocked that out and made it to the final. Yeah, it hurts not to have a ring. Promise you. Promise you. But damn, the Greenville Triumph have put something together. They putting something special together. And I hope that you guys that have followed us along this ride as we've talked to them from the start of the season through the end, as we've had players and coaches and admins roll through on the show, as I've told you guys stories and put up posts from the games, I hope you guys will bring that same noise next year, because this is, like it or not, Diddy, this is a soccer community now.
Yep.
We're always going to be
culture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're always going to be a college football first area. I'm not taking away from that. But you can love more than one thing, and you don't have to love it. But there is a reason that Charlotte FC is coming here to do their offseason training. There is a reason that the Greenville Triumph are going to remain at the top of the table in the USL League One for a long time. There is a reason that there are academies popping up all around us. There is a reason that soccer is big here. We are a soccer community. And if you have been watching us all year and going, I don't know, come out week 1.
Yeah.
Come out to the first home match of the 2021 season, or 2022 season. Come out to week 1, listen to the chants and the flares and the drums and watch the people singing and dancing, and tell me we're not a soccer community. Get in now, because we are real lucky to have this team representing us here. We really are.
Absolutely. And it is something that you don't realize until you go. And I learned that down in Orlando. I was not a soccer fan. I always laughed at people who watched the MLS. I thought, why would you waste your time on that product? I moved to Orlando the same year Orlando City started in USL Pro. They win a championship. They lose in the playoffs. Then they win their second championship in their third year. All of a sudden, I'm going to these matches. I'm in the supporter section. I'm one of the supporter group members, and I'm obsessed with soccer because of it. You go, it changes your mind when you see what that situation's like. That kind of atmosphere and what the Reedy Riot and these supporter groups here in Greenville are doing is just as good as any single MLS club in this town, in this country right now, with their support, their passion, the culture. It's just it's a time you have no idea how good of a time it would be until you actually show up and experience it.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Again, disappointing L, I know, for the Triumph, but damn, what a run.
Yeah.
What a run. You know, I hate to be cliche, but that old, it's not the destination, it's the ride thing. Yeah, I would have loved to have been going tomorrow to celebrate with a cup, but I'm happy as hell just to celebrate because this team is good and they represent the upstate in a way we should be very proud of. And I'm very happy about that. No embarrassments. We don't have guys going out and getting in trouble like other clubs do. We don't have presidents and team owners that are out there scraping away in order to maximize profit at fan experience. I've been to some top level college games that don't provide the atmosphere that you get at a Greenville Triumph game. Should be proud. All right, let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. My name is Rob. Diddy's at the ones and twos. This is ESPN Upstate, y'all.
My finger on the button to turn off my mic and then didn't push it and sniffled straight into it.
Happens to the best of us.
The poor stream has to hear the sniffles always. But
everybody has their one. Never forget to check the mics and never say anything in a hot studio. I had a female I think I've told the story. I had a female co-host years ago who, in the midst of trying to decide if she was going to divorce her husband, accidentally announced her pregnancy over hot mic over the air.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness.
West Virginia knocked off Clemson 66-59. Western Carolina 64-53 winners at Longwood.
That'll do.
Starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
I got 3.5 minutes. I gotta go now. My turn. See y'all in a minute.
Surgery, major surgery. John Boy Billy here saying, don't do it, not until you check out QC Kinetics. Get a second opinion. Learn all about these natural biologic treatments, restorative, regenerative alternatives that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, back, and hips, and other joints as well. QC Kinetics uses natural biologics from your own body and concentrates them in the precise damaged area for lasting relief. No downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't bother tonight. Call QC Kinetics. Get a second opinion right now. You got nothing to lose. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. Non-surgical regenerative options are here. 864-448-3772. Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit store near you.
Yeah, should have seen the fun after the show yesterday. The logs were still not working.
Oh,
so
chaos.
it went into the Carolina feed, but then started playing the first commercial break already. And it's all through one pot. So it's like you turn the pot down. So it was just all over the place. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Thankfully, Hendrix was here. It was wild.
I will never understand how people get millions of views and likes by doing like a half-ass dance on social media.
Yeah.
And millions of likes.
Yeah.
Like what do you like about this?
I don't know. Like, as much as I enjoy a lot of TikTok, and I'm really surprised I ever did, and now I can't stop, that stuff annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this person like rich for just nothing?
Million views.
Usually it's because it's like a hot chick, you know, and a bunch of
I guess that's all.
a bunch of weird losers are just like, I love this woman. She's so talented.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Diddy, and
Hello.
you. Hello. Florida has released Dan Mullen after the worst conference record for the Gators since back in the late 1970s.
That's bad. You outdid Will Muschamp
Yeah.
in a bad way.
Which is interesting. There was a lot of hype about Dan Mullen when he came to Florida. I didn't like the hire at the time. I was broadcasting down in Florida at the time. I didn't like the hype at the time. I thought the hype at the time was overrated. I thought his run at Mississippi State was okay, right? Like, just folks acted like he had won a national championship at Mississippi State, and I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. Look, Dan Mullen kind of developed this character, I think, of the IDGAF coach, right? Like almost a troll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody thinks of me unless they're in orange and blue and sign a paycheck kind of guy. And I get it. But one thing you learn, and I know that a lot of people roll their eyes at this, and that's okay. We all take life lessons from different places, and that's okay. One of the places I've taken life lessons from is wrestling, right?
That's fair.
Big wrestling guy. A lot of life lessons come out of wrestling. And one of the life lessons you learn is that if you're going to be a bad guy, you better be good at what you do, right? You better be good at what you do. If Nick Saban started acting like a total ass, and don't get me wrong, he does sometimes. But what are you going to criticize? I can't believe this guy who has been to every college football playoff is so mean sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like Saban's good. I've told this. I've told stories about. I used to work down close to Alabama. A lot of Alabama fans in the Florida Panhandle. I've been around Nick Saban many times, and unless you can do something for Nick Saban, he's got no time for you, right? Because he puts every ounce of energy into his program. He's got nothing for you unless you can help him. When I was broadcasting in the Panhandle, and I was doing a radio show down there. I did a radio show from the Senior Bowl one year, and Nick Saban was there, and he popped by, and he walked up, and he's like, "Hey man, where do you broadcast?" And I said, across the Florida Panhandle. And he knew it. He's like, "Oh, okay, so like Pensacola, like he knew where I was."
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, we got some pretty good recruiting down there." And I'm like, "Yeah, you got some good kids coming out of Pensacola. Hey man, can I jump on?" Like Nick Saban asked me, "Can I jump on with you?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, no, Nick
Right.
Saban, you can't. But I realized what he was doing, right? He was putting his voice into a fertile recruiting area at the time. Been another time, I was at the SEC spring meetings in Destin. They used to hold, I think they still do the spring meetings in Destin. And it was at the, I think the Hyatt Sandestin, right across from Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort. Saban pops into an elevator, like 2 or 3 of his guys. Hey, coach, good to see you. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I couldn't help him at that moment. There was nothing I could do to benefit him at that moment. But it's like, what's the criticism?
Yeah.
What he's doing makes him successful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't beat him up for it. Yeah, I can get, hey, you're rude. He didn't care.
He doesn't.
Right? Dan Mullen tried to do that, but also wasn't good at his job.
Exactly.
And you got to be good at your job if that's, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be that guy, you got to be good at your job. Ric Flair wouldn't be. Ric Flair was a terrible guy as a wrestler and a person, but as a wrestler, terrible guy. And is still one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. Why? Yep. Because you could trash him, maybe anger at him, and hate him for everything he did. And at the end of the day, he always had the championship belt.
Yep.
You couldn't do anything about it. Dan Mullen, like last year with the Darth Vader mask. And then you come out and you get blown out in every game this year, right? They had a good run against Alabama, and then they lost to Kentucky. They lost to Mizzou. They probably should have lost at home to Samford. They lost to South Carolina at home, or excuse me, on the road at Willie B. It's not a good look.
No.
Yet he still tried to be that guy. I didn't understand why they hired him in the first place. He strikes me as Will Muschamp Volume 2.0.
Yeah.
Like a guy with a good defensive mind, a guy with a lot of energy, a lot of attitude that the players love. But at the end of the day, you just don't fit. It's just it's one position above where you're supposed to be coaching. It is the definition of the Peter Principle, right? You've heard of the Peter Principle? Peter Principle says that everybody has a roof on their performance. Like, this is the best you can do. But the thing is, if you come in here and you kick ass at the job that is at your roof, then you get promoted one above it, you're going to be bad at the next level. Mm-hmm. So everybody's going to end up getting promoted one job ahead of where they actually are at their best. And Dan Mullen was the living embodiment of the Peter Principle. Great coordinator. Probably could have been an okay long-term coach at a school like a Mississippi State, a middle-tier school.
Mm-hmm.
But a gig like Florida, one of the best gigs in the country when they're on top, is a step ahead of him.
Yep.
And I'm not going to lie to you. This was the concern I had with Shane Beamer coming to South Carolina, right? South Carolina, I think, and Diddy, you're a Gamecock guy. South Carolina, I think, has the potential to be a great gig, to be a top-tier program. Florida's in that mix. Clemson, I didn't think had that potential until Dabo got there. And there are some coaches that can elevate you. There is maybe a coach out there that could elevate Mississippi State from being a second-tier SEC program permanently to the next level. Going to be tough because you're recruiting not just across the street from Ole Miss, but Auburn comes into Mississippi, and Alabama comes into Mississippi, and LSU comes into Mississippi, and Georgia comes into Mississippi, and Florida and Florida State, and all these other schools reach into Mississippi. And you're not going to be able to keep pulling the best talent in Mississippi out of there unless you become a top-tier program. So you got to become a top-tier program with second-tier talent as your foundation.
Yep.
Dan Mullen still wasn't that dude, but you thought he was going to show up to Florida and take. I didn't get that hired at the beginning. I don't get it now. I had the same reaction when Dan Mullen got hired at South Carolina. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? Mm-hmm. You just watched him at a program, and don't take this as a disrespect to South Carolina, but at a program with better facilities in Gainesville, with more of a rep in Gainesville, with an easier recruiting ground in Central and South Florida, because Miami was bad at the time. Florida State was, they were under Jimbo Fisher, so they were in a better place.
It was during the spiral, though.
Yeah. It was at the beginning of the spiral.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it there. What the hell do you think he's going to do here in South Carolina with worse facilities, less of a budget, a much more contested recruiting ground, right? And I was concerned, and I still am concerned. I'm not going to say like, oh, I feel so much better about Shane Beamer. Mm-hmm. I'm better now than I was 6 months ago about Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand the hire then. I don't understand it now. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think the Mullen one was 100%. It was a nostalgia hire. And that is what Beamer was too, which is why that is concerning. It was, this guy was one of our coaches during those glory days. Maybe he can make us that team again Maybe not, though, and as great as this season is and what we have seen is positive in South Carolina, and I'm super in on Shane Beamer.
Sure.
The reality is reality, and Muschamp took a team and made them 6-6 in 1 year, too, and made a bowl game in his first year. So there's that tempered expectation, the cautious optimism. The thing with Florida, like, you went from Urban Meyer to Will Muschamp, an abysmal failure. You hire a used car salesman in McElwain who has millions of dollars but can't get his teeth bleached. Blows my mind.
He's too busy humping sharks.
You're on HD television, man. Those yellow chiclets need to be fixed. And he fails, even though he's getting you to SEC championship each year. He's just not getting the job done overall. And you bring in Mullen as this nostalgia hire. Now I see the new list of who they want. It's the same nostalgia hires. Bob Stoops, because, well, he used to be here as a coordinator. Or this guy, because he was involved with somebody who used to be our offensive coordinator. And find somebody that has nothing to do with it, because those expectations, and that's why I think who knows what's going to happen in this hire, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. I think we've been told it's not going to happen from both sides of the thing. But the idea of Beamer going to Virginia Tech just seems like a bad idea, just like any of these other nostalgia hires, because your expectation level doubles because you were a part of something that happened there before that was really good. And if you can't get back there, they turn on you in a second, especially Florida Gator fans.
I said last week when and I'm doing this intentionally, the news of Shane Beamer taking the Virginia Tech job. And I said no, for a couple of reasons. Number one is Shane's got the South Carolina fan base in his back pocket right now. Right, especially after the win last night, but even coming off the Florida win, even after the Mizzou loss, I thought, all right, but people are I'll use the words cautiously optimistic about Shane Beamer. He's got some wiggle room to play with here that he wouldn't get at Virginia Tech off the gate, right? They'd be happy to have a Beamer in there, but the expectations for a Beamer after what Frank did there going to be through the roof. Second thing is, some Gamecock fans got mad at me, but I'm going to stick by it. Why would Virginia Tech want him? If they genuinely believe that with the power vacuum in the ACC, that there's room for Virginia Tech to vault from worst to first in the ACC, not that they're worst, but it's a phrase.
Yeah.
What has Shane Beamer done to make you think he's the guy to take them there, other than be born by Frank?
Yeah.
Outside of that, what's he done, right? They're not going to be interested in him because he's got nothing on the resume to go there. Now, I had a Gamecock fan reach out and say, well, Rob, you could have said the same thing about them when they hired him in South Carolina. I did say the same thing. And I'm still saying it now. It's a risky hire.
It is.
And I'm afraid they might go the way of Dan Mullen. 6-6 in a ballgame the first year. Everybody gets really optimistic, and then nothing changes. That's just what you are now. You're not moving up. And again, in a window where Clemson's come back down to earth, that window probably isn't going to stay open long. And if you want to be able to steal some of the 4 stars away from Clemson in South Carolina and get them to come there, you need to elevate every year. And I don't know if Shane's a guy. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying I don't know if he is. There is a difference between he's not, and I believe that. I don't know if he is, and he is. There are 3 different possibilities, and I'm in the middle. I don't know if he is. I'm not saying he's not. I just don't know if he is. I just don't want him to be Dan Mullen at South Carolina, because if you have to reset this program again, and if Dabo finds the next Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, as he has done pretty much every time since he's been there with the exception of DJ, and that power vacuum closes, if you're resetting the program and they find another guy, it's right back to the cellar for you.
Yep.
You've got to do it now.
I think the good difference that you could see with Beamer as opposed to a Dan Mullen is, because he doesn't have that experience prior, you don't have something to look at where he might have elevated a program a little bit, but never really got over a hump over there at Mississippi State with Dan Mullen. But also, it's that attitude you talked about with him. It's that persona that Dan Mullen has. That's not the kind of persona that Shane Beamer has. And what Shane Beamer has been able to do so far, and hopefully continues to do, is he's building a new culture at South Carolina,
which
in the
is
mindset.
The hardest job.
And that is the hardest job, but that's not something Dan Mullen even tried.
No. Dan Mullen tried to be. Here's what I got. Dan Mullen. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can build a culture, or you can build a cult of personality.
Yep.
Those are 2 different things. Dan Mullen tried to build a cult of personality around himself. And I genuinely think Beamer's trying to build a South Carolina culture that he is the head of, but is not him. Right. I think it was all about Dan Mullen's personality at Florida. And I think, again, I've been impressed in my 3 trips to Columbia so far. you go up and you don't see a big picture of Shane hanging on the outside of the stadium. You see a big banner that says "Welcome Home" with the South Carolina logo on it. He's building to the culture and letting it build around him, as opposed to Dan trying to build it about himself, and that's good news. Dabo talked about Shane Beamer. As a matter of fact, he said, quote, "They've done a great job, had a huge win last night. I think Shane's doing an awesome job in building that team. They've had some adversity as well that they've been able to overcome. They've got some good players. They're running the ball well. They've got a couple really good skill guys outside, a big offensive line. Their D-line is really good. It's a really good group. We just got back to work just like we try to get ready every single week. We'll have good meetings and good practice to get ready," end quote. So some nice things to say about Shane Beamer from Dabo Swinney. He said, quote, "That's why we always say beating South Carolina is a season and a goal of its own. It's a standalone goal on our goal board. So everyone knows from the moment you get here, this is a very important game to a lot of people. You're playing for a trophy on Saturday, a state championship. We're excited about it." You know, I don't know if and I wasn't here, I don't know if Dabo had that same energy about him when South Carolina was a 2-win program and Clemson was in the playoffs every year. But you got to think that you're going to get a freaking slugfest on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. The rivalry is back because of how these teams are this year.
Yeah.
And hopefully that continues going forward for both teams. You know, it's a lot more fun coming into this week when there might actually be a chance for both teams to win. When it's a foregone conclusion, there's just no excitement. And I said it last year when I was filling in around this time of year leading into last year's game, or 2 years ago, excuse me. They didn't play last year, 2 years ago, that the excitement's gone at that point. And that was with one more year of Muschamp after it. So like, this is huge just to have this feeling and have Dabo with, you know, at least even anything to say about South Carolina to try to build them up so that his team takes them seriously. Whereas he could have easily just made some joke about, yeah, whatever. We know that they're trash. We're going to beat them again. But he knows that's not the way to go. And I think we're going to get way more of a nice guy rivalry between these two dudes than we had, say, with Spurrier the last time these two teams were even.
I agree entirely. There's an energy, electricity about this game that was not there. A couple of texts that have come in. Texter says, ESPN, Clemson mad at its program about Dabo and not the program, and that's part of their problem. Clemson's mad at its program. Clemson made its program about Dabo and not the program, and that's part of their problem. You agree or disagree with that?
I don't really agree with that.
I don't agree with that either. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there have been some moments where Dabo's made the moment about Dabo.
Oh yeah.
But I think if you're gonna reach the level that Dabo and Saban and some of these other guys have reached at the top of the tip of the top, the cream of the crop, you have a little bit of that in you, right? You've got to believe that you are the best at what you do. I tell people all the time, even in this business, right? Like if you're gonna do what Diddy and I do, you gotta think you're good.
Yeah.
You have to believe you're good, because my brain has to tell me, yeah, Rob, you're entertaining enough for 3 hours to sit in a box and talk to yourself and make people want to listen to you.
Yeah.
If you come in here and going, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this, I got news. You ain't.
Yep.
You'll get run out on a rail, Jack. So I don't agree with that. Another texter says Billy Napier is Florida's best choice.
I don't hate that hire, but as a friend of mine who's a Gator fan pointed out, there are too many ties to Jim McElwain for Billy Napier. They have ties together. Do you want to go with anybody that's tied to anything to do with that era of Florida Gator football ever?
That poor shark.
Oh, that poor shark.
I gotta tell you, I know he's happy and I know they're doing well, but you want to talk about a natural fit for Florida, man? Bring my dog Jamie Chadwell down there.
Yeah.
Bring my dog Jamie Chadwell down there. See what he let him bring a little Myrtle Beach down to Gainesville. It'll fit him well.
Thing is, though, like all these recent hires from that level up to these big programs have all been failures.
Yeah.
Herman going to Texas, Fuente up to Virginia Tech. And these are guys that we were going after at South Carolina, hoping to get and couldn't get.
Yeah.
The only one that succeeded is one that came from a big program in Kirby Smart going to Georgia.
I agree with you, but you also got to think, like, Texas as a whole is a dumpster fire right now.
It's really bad.
Virginia Tech is kind of like a Mississippi State, except they've had some success in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
They're not much bigger and badder than Mississippi State. You know, would Carolina be different? Final last text, and then we'll take a break. Rob, the only problem with Diddy filling in is that every time he say his name, my brain says about Jack and Diane, two American kids doing
Is it embarrassing to admit that every time I intro that song on our sister station, Classic Rock 101.1, I say, this is a little ditty and I'm a big ditty. Classic Rock 101.1 with John Mellencamp. Hey, you got to lay the cheese on thick over there, you know?
All right, let's take a break here in just a minute with Big Diddy and the Rob on ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, I do that far more often than I should.
Hey, dude.
It's too easy. It's right
too
there
easy.
for me. I've been in there voice tracking and had Ashley with me, like, because we were gonna go to brunch or something, and it was Saturday morning, and I'm like, just ride with me, sit in the studio, I'll knock out this hour or two, worth of voice tracks,
right,
and then we'll go grab some food. And she just sits there shaking her head at every single dumb thing I say because it is so cheesy. But that's the job. Like, that's what that is for DJing.
Yeah, I get more groans out of Courtney than I do laughs. But when I land one,
right?
When I land one,
I do it on purpose a lot of the times. Definitely the dad jokes. The dad jokes are all purpose, just to get that negative response. She was making fun of me because I said I wanted to go to the HOA meeting. Now that we live in a neighborhood,
right,
of homeowners association and all, I was like, I'm going up there. I'm wearing my dad jacket. I'm going to talk about these kids driving too fast out here. This Powderhorn Motor Speedway. She's like, oh my God, please don't. I was like, oh, I'm going. Like, I'm sick of these people riding my backside, trying to come into this place. It says 25. This is a neighborhood. There are children.
This is a neighborhood. That is the line.
This is not the Daytona 500.
This is a neighborhood.
She's like, oh my God, we need to move already. I'm not letting you do this. I didn't do it. I didn't go. I think it's like a Monday night. It was a Monday night and there was a big football game, I think. The last one. I was like, nope, not interested. I'm going to stay home and watch this. Have a beer. Another one coming up in a couple weeks, though, so it's tempting. Four to 5 seconds.
40.
And then our last break. 1, 2. It's like 4.5 minutes. Just so you're aware. Make sure you have the 4.5 minutes to get out.
Yeah, we're
have
just gonna do a
segment.
little quick segment here.
As long as you're out by 51,
yeah,
we'll have a few minutes for the last segment. Back in 10.
All right, rapidly approaching the end
Keegan.
of the radio broadcast. I am Rob Diddy on the ones and twos today. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. AP poll is out. We'll get our playoff rankings, of course. Tomorrow night, Georgia stays at number 1, but Diddy, the Ohio State University, jumping Alabama in the AP poll. Not by much. They've jumped them by a total of 9 points overall. Of course, every first place vote goes to Georgia. Ohio State, 1,434. Alabama, 1,423. And number 4 in the AP poll, the Natty. Cincinnati checking in at number 4 with 1,416 points. They are just less than 2 scoops of points behind Alabama at number 4. Question's going to be, with this little breakup, and don't get me wrong, well-deserved for Ohio State, right? To go out there and beat the drum on Michigan State the way they did. I mean, they probably could have, should have, would have called that game at halftime. 49-0. 4 touchdowns, 400 yards passing, and 2 incompletions in the entire first half against Sparty. I got to wonder if the folks at Michigan State didn't look at that fat contract they gave Mel last week and go, may have jumped the gun on that. Maybe should have waited till the end of the year anyway. They were just worried about him getting hired out by an LSU or USC, which is justifiable at the time. But Ohio State, what they did this weekend was unreal. My question now is going to be, does this change up the playoff rankings, right? Like, because you got Michigan State that is now going to have dropped. Oklahoma took their first loss last week. They dropped out. Oklahoma State looked real good. How about Oklahoma State? A little bedlam this weekend could have some implications in the playoffs too. You got Georgia and Alabama. They have both clinched, so that's going to be your SEC championship game. I don't suspect Alabama, sorry, Keegan, is going to have much of a problem with Auburn this weekend. Georgia Tech got leveled by Notre Dame 55-0 this weekend. I don't suspect Georgia's going to have much of a problem. So really the biggest game we have left in the playoff rankings is going to be the SEC championship game. If Alabama beats Georgia, then I think Georgia drops to 4. Alabama will move up. If Georgia beats Alabama, I think you got to drop a 2-loss Alabama team out of the top 4 entirely. So then, and frankly, that's what I'm hoping for because I am always team chaos.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm always team chaos. The chaos comes in with, okay, do you let in an undefeated Cincinnati if there's a spot there? Does Notre Dame, who has, by the way, looked really good the last few weeks, does Notre Dame, even though they lost to Cincinnati, get to jump? Remember, Cincinnati had about a 3-week stretch where they were skating by barely teams that have no business being in the game. But then they come out this weekend and they look great. It looked like somebody finally kicked them in the butt and said, hey, if you guys want a shot, you better go rip some tail. And they finally did. But does Notre Dame get to jump a Cincinnati team that beat them? Michigan, if Michigan beats Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, do you leave Ohio State in and move Michigan into the 4 and leave Cincinnati and Notre Dame out? There's a lot of chaos left.
Oh, yeah. Tons of chaos. And then 2 more weeks of football left, too. You got rivalry games, which anything can happen a lot of the time in these rivalry games. Some of these teams that don't deserve to lose will lose some of the rivalry games going into that. Plus, you got a conference championship a week after where a lot of these top teams are playing against each other. So it's going to be fun to watch this next 2 weeks. And with Oregon dropping and Michigan State dropping out, man, the AP poll is exactly how I would put the college football rankings if I voted on them today. But they're not going to, and I almost expect Notre Dame to be 4 and Cincinnati to be 5 tomorrow night.
Oh, 100%.
Because they're just going to do that. Even though Cincinnati handled them early in the season, Notre Dame is really, really hot right now, and they want to do anything they can to not give a group of 5 team a chance in here.
Yeah, I suspect you're going to see Cincinnati at 5 when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
I agree. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap it up with Twitter trending topics on the way out the door. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate.
So to full voice answer your question, Keegan, if it was a fat guy in a Carolina hat eating boiled peanuts and drinking a beer at the last seat at the bar at Vaughn's,
So me?
Yes, it was me.
So me?
Yeah. And those boiled peanuts are dope from the peanut company over there.
Cajun or regular?
I got the Cajun.
Attaboy.
And then I took home some of the hot yaki, which was like Cajun mixed with teriyaki.
Don't hate that either.
So good.
Don't hate that at all.
And then there's another cup of plain ones for Ashley in the fridge for when she gets home today. I like live at Vaughn's. It's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. But they have the best beer. Their beer list is dope. And they're open more often than Clock Tower and 1885, who I go to a lot, too.
Not been there. But
You got to check out Vaughn's because
it's more than most of my family.
owner of most of Vaughn's, and I guess he's co-owner of the whole thing with his brother, I think, is Thomas, who is one of our avid listeners.
Yeah.
So that's why I went there at first. When I first got the job at Thomas Creek, I went over there and was bringing a 6-pack to Thomas and realized that my friend Jordan was his bar manager.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, here we go. Here's beer. You guys should buy some. Thank you. It was great. Nice. I did as well. Just moved into Powderhorn. I'm like 2 blocks away from Vaughn's.
We need to, for both of you guys, Keegan, we need to put together another warehouse night, man.
Yes.
Absolutely need to put another warehouse night together.
And my dude Ty is opening Pineapple Express in there.
Nice.
Yeah, and that place, he's done it as like a pop-up kitchen over the years, and he's done it at 8th State a couple of times, and the food is dope. And his new pizza place in there, Humble Pie, is really, really good too.
Somebody told me that a few days back.
The Italian grinder is perfect.
I tell you, the one food we do not hurt it for around here is pizza.
Yeah, there's a lot of
There's
pizza,
a
but there's
lot
not a
of
lot
good
of great pizza. There's a few. Slice of Brooklyn out there, Humble Pie out there, both amazing. Anthony's is pretty good out there as well. Some of them around here have gone like up and down, where they've been really good for a while, then kind of not been good for a while. I also blame that on my laziness and ordering through DoorDash all the time. I think I spend all of my income on DoorDash. Minute 45. So 55:30. Oh, I should get up. What's trending, huh?
It does help.
Here's what's trending. I don't know. I haven't looked. Thank you.
You can also just make it up. But it is more fun when we actually do this up there.
Yeah. I like being able to go to my own, like the For You trend, because it's going to be different than.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot of.
And the
Problem is with mine. It's always sports. If it's the For You.
Mine is too. I usually end up going to the internet or to the national trends, and it's still almost always sports.
This report is paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Hey parents, good news. Kids ages 5 to 11 are eligible for a COVID vaccine. Your future CEOs, artists, innovators, and more are eligible for a vaccine that can help protect their future. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh my goodness. That's right, Rob. The show is winding down, and that it is time for Twitter.
Ballot is out, and these
Yes.
are all first-year dudes, right?
Well, Clemens and Bonds are not, but they're at the
Clemens and Bond
end
are not.
of theirs. They're running out of time. A-Rod being, or not A-Rod, Ortiz is one of the first ballot this year. This is first ballot.
Can I just say that not only does Poppy deserve an HOF, can we just make? Can you give me a TV show with Poppy, Charles Barkley, Pat McAfee, and Shaq to talk sports?
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Like Poppy during this World Series
The best.
was gold. Was gold. You don't have to be a Red Sox guy.
No.
Poppy at the end when they're interviewing Freddie Freeman and he pulls out the money guns and just starts going, pay the man, and lighting him up with hundos was such a moment. I love Poppy. When the lady friend Diddy and I went up to the Bo Sox Yankees game at Fenway this year, Poppy made a surprise appearance, right? Nobody knew he was there. He came out to take the ceremonial first pitch from a military family who the dad husband had just returned from deployment. And when he came out to catch the pitch and they announced that Poppy was there, Fenway got lit.
Oh, yeah.
dog. They got lit. They love him. It was great.
That's our guy.
All right, what else we got?
By the way, it's their last. This is the last cycle for Clemens and Bonds.
Yes.
So interesting there. Also, we have USFL trending on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah. With a lot of what's going on in the NFL right now, with the taunting and the chaos and all that, USFL and the XFL coming back as well. There's potential. Remember, but the what was the league that just shut down? They operated for like less than a season. Anyway, that league,
The athletic, or what was the
American Athletic,
American Athletic
Football League,
Football,
AAFL, whatever. They actually had some pretty good momentum going for a little while before COVID.
COVID killed it.
They had a little bit of momentum going.
XFL was fun for a minute there.
XFL was fun. And the XFL, I think, learned the lesson of don't do professional wrestling doing football. Just do football.
Just do football. We like
and
it.
have wrestlers show up. But with so many good players out there, those two leagues have a chance to not reach the NFL, but be a decent alternative. But y'all, you got to play spring football.
Really got
to play spring football.
Lastly, Keanu. Trending.
Keanu should be trending every day. The man is an American icon. The dude is the best. And he's just a good person, which is great. I do not know why he's trending, though.
He's on the cover of Esquire, the winter 2021 issue. Still working, still making great movies. And according to the cover of this magazine, Keanu Reeves knows the secrets of the universe.
If anybody
I don't know what that means, but I want to know.
If anybody does, it's Keanu.
Makes me want to read the magazine.
It's Neo. He's the only one that knows.
He is the one.
Save us, Keanu!
I'm stoked for that new movie. I don't care.
Oh, so am I. So am I. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're handing it off to Mark Ryan and Diesel for all sides. Make sure you stick around for 4 hours of Sports Talk Radio goodness. Diddy's with us all the way up through Wednesday. Appreciate you, big fella.
Absolutely.
We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again and try harder, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Brown. For Diddy and everybody here at ESPN Upstate, we appreciate you listening as always. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. One in the books, dog. Well done. Stream, thank you guys. We will see you back here tomorrow to try harder later on.